New York Giants fans, it's a Victory Monday. And because it's a Victory Monday, you get to decide what type of content you want to consume for the week. Do you want to just hear all of the good stuff, all of the positive things, all of the joy feelings that come with the win? Or because it's a win, do you want to hear the truth? I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I've got a giant issue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of A Giant Issue. I'm Coach Gene Clemons. New York Giants on that side, that's where you get all your New York Giants news and information. Make sure you go over there and check out everything we're doing over there. My 3 plays article, all of the breakdowns, all of the discussions from the victory. It was a fantastic victory. I want to start here. First off, make sure that you come over to New York Giants on SI YouTube page. Hit that subscribe button. Get us over 3,000. Paul Dottino, Big Blue Breakdown. Myself over here with the Giant Issue. We bring you all the content as we know how to do it. There is no substitute for winning. There is no nothing else that goes beyond what happens when you win. And that euphoric feeling, it doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you win. But it does matter if you can consistently win. That's usually tied to how you win. So today, I'd like to give credit and give critique to the Giants and what I saw in that game versus the Chargers. And I hope to be able to do so with the understanding that I don't care as long as you win. But if it's going to be sustainable, we're going to have to figure some things out, right? Going to have to figure some things out. I'm going to start by doing something that I know a lot of you guys don't like. I'm going to talk about the Eagles. Why are you going to talk about the Eagles, Coach? I'm going to talk about the Eagles because this is going to come up. It always does. It's one of the laziest arguments that people make whenever there's success for a team and the quarterback doesn't have like grandiose stats, right? So I'm going to talk about the Eagles and how people would lead you to believe that the Eagles are doing all of this in spite of Jalen Hurts, when in reality, they're doing all of this because of Jalen Hurts. And the reason they'll tell you that they're doing all of this in spite of Jalen Hurts is because Jalen Hurts doesn't go out there and throw for 300 and something yards every game. He doesn't go out there and throw for 4 touchdowns every game. In fact, he rarely does that. But when you need him to do that the most, he comes through. See the last 2 Super Bowls that the Eagles were in. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both of them. Just his defense didn't show up in the first one. And when his defense showed up in the second one, he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. I talk about that because Jaxson Dart started, and the statistics were not anything that you're going to call home to mama about. Like, you're not going to look at these stats and go, wow, he really lit it up out there. And before anyone says anything in the comments, you guys know I'm watching. If not, then you should probably start checking out my live halftime reaction to what's going on. Jaxson Dart went 13 for 20 for 111 yards and a touchdown. He also ran the ball 10 times for 54 yards and a touchdown. No interceptions, but he was sacked 5 times. That's a pretty darn tidy day, right? Like, it's not sexy. It's not sexy at all. It's not something where you go, oh my gosh, we've got the one. But you know what'll do that? Continuing to win. See, stats like these are cool if there's a win, because stats like these mean I didn't beat you. I mean, I didn't get you beat. I didn't get us beat. I wasn't the reason that we lost. I might not have been the full reason that we won, right? Like, Kansas City, the reason they're winning is because Patrick Mahomes is doing, right? I can't say in Philly that the full 1000% all the time reason that they win is because Jalen Hurts. But I can say the majority of the time, Jalen Hurts is not doing anything to lose the game. And when they need him most, he makes the plays. So, great opening drive by New York. Predictable. For whatever you think about Brian Dable, and I guess to the caveat of that, because he's the offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, they know how to scheme up an opening drive. They've been doing it pretty well here in New York since they've arrived. The opening drives are always, things of beauty. The part that gets a little squirrely is penalties by the players on the field, and then not being able to get the ball in the end zone, which I think to a certain extent can come back on the coaching staff, right? So, fantastic script. Lots of quarterback runs, lots of Skattebo, a little bit of passing. That's the formula when you put a guy out there that, let's be real about it, if you didn't think he was ready to start week 1, and that's why you put Russell Wilson out there, he's not ready to start in week 4. There's nothing that happened in these 3 weeks that would have taken him from he's ready to start or he's not ready to start to he's ready to start. Like, it's just almost impossible. Like, I think about how much my teams and my players change in 3 weeks when you're preparing for a game every week, right? This isn't 3 weeks of training camp where he can get like explicit work and he doesn't have to worry about the game planning for teams. They don't have to focus on any of that other stuff. They can just focus on getting him better. This is him preparing as the number 2 quarterback for different teams every week, right? So if he wasn't ready to play in week 1, there's no way in hell he was ready to play in week 4. And it showed, because after that initial first drive, his play was spotty. He missed receivers open. Some of his scrambles were a little haphazard. He's putting himself in jeopardy. They had to take him into the tent for concussion protocol. None of the things that you want to see. Now, the stuff that you love, you can tell he's got a fire about him. You can tell he's got a passion about him. You can tell that he's got a magnetic personality. There's a fine line, though, right, between being a magnetic personality and almost being a caricature, right? I think this is something that Jameis Winston has had to deal with in his career, right? Like, what's just, oh, his personality is just like that, and what part of that is caricature? And so I think Dart will have to ensure that he doesn't go over that line, and he has the perfect mentor there in Winston to help him do that. So it was off and on. His first touchdown pass wasn't really a touchdown pass, but who gives a damn, right? Jalen Hurts, and that's why I brought it up. Jalen Hurts had 2 touchdown passes yesterday that were just little flicks. to the tight end, so to speak. Also, the also the idea of him running, right, has opened up his running mate, Cam Skattebo, to be able to run, because 11 on 11, when you have to account for the quarterback as a legitimate runner, it's going to open up running lanes for your running back. That was great. So overall, I would give the grade for him a C, right? I told you guys that I was going to come in here and I was going to grade him as if he was expected to be the dude, right? Like, he made some plays, but there was a ton of meat left on the bone. A ton of meat left on the bone, right? Like 13 for 20, 60 something percent completion percentage. Not bad, but not great. 111 yards, not great. A 5.6 average, not great. His average air yards, not very good. Like, outside of the couple that he pushed down, he missed Darius Slayton open in the end zone, just pushed it a little too far. Overthrowing Darius Slayton is criminal, because he's so fast, he can run under almost anything. So the fact that he overthrew him is interesting in itself. I think that connection will get better, as now you have to turn to Darius Slayton as your wide receiver one, especially because even if you brought somebody in from the outside, they're not going to be able to pick up the offense as fast. You're just going to be out there kind of piecing it together, giving them certain little plays they can run until they're comfortable. So I look at it and I go, Darius Slayton is the guy you've got to feed into now. But a decent showing from Jaxson Dart. Again, the fire, the passion, you like all of that. But let's not act like Russell Wilson didn't have fire and passion. Let's not act like Jameis Winston would not have had fire and passion. And I 1,000% know Jameis Winston would not go out there and throw 13 for 20 for 111 yards and a touchdown, right? Like, I know everybody always talks about, oh, he's a turnover merchant. Y'all just look at stats, and then y'all don't even look inside of the stats to see what you're looking at. You just assume that that's what it is. But I liked the management. I like the management of Dart by the coaching staff. I like the managing of the team by Dart, outside of a couple little, which, if you're saying, hey, he's a rookie, he got thrown out there, that's to be expected. Cool. But I'm holding the coaching staff feet to the fire because they didn't have to throw him out there, right? So good job on him. I love the way he was running, when he was decisive with his running. He's going to be a problem for defenses. I said something on Sunday, and I forgot who I said it to, but and then I mentioned it at my live halftime. This Jaxson Dart game reminded me a lot of what Daniel Jones used to look like in 2022 when they made the playoff run. It was nothing spectacular. He'd get you a touchdown through the air, get you a touchdown on the ground. He ran the ball decently. It opened up the field for the running back, or the running back opened up the field for him. Whatever, chicken and egg, whichever one comes. And so it's like, if he's starting from a standpoint of 2022 Daniel Jones, I think he's in the right direction. Now becomes the, can you keep winning? Because if it's a win next week and the stats look like this still, it's not going to be me going, hey, they're winning, but it's going to be me going, hey, they're winning. And then starting to try to figure out how the other things wrap around him. Like right now, that defense deserves almost all of the credit for this win. I know there are people out there that only want to give credit for winning when it's the offense or the quarterback that does it. But this defense deserves all of the credit. Maybe not all of it. 90% of the credit for this win. Because that offense has been dynamic all season. They have 3 wide receivers who are all viable. They have Marion Hampton back there who is emerging right in front of our eyes, and yet that defense stood up. And shout out to them, because I've been very critical. You guys know I'm not a fan of Shane Bowen. I'm still not. Still not. But they played well. The players played well. I still got my issues with this scheme. Like, I don't think this scheme did anything to stop LA. I think the players made plays. The 3-headed monster edge rushers. Remember when I said, hey, we should just let Abdul Carter be an edge rusher and stop trying to play him as this like joker or this magic card? Surprise, surprise, surprise. They let him play edge rusher, and he was dynamic. Still didn't get any sacks. So don't change the narrative on us now. He's going to have to get some guys on the ground with sacks. Don't just tell me at the end of the year, oh, my God, he had all of these pressures. He had all of these quarterback hits, but he only had 2 and 3 sacks, right? Because that's not the standards you held Kayvon Thibodeau to his first year, when he didn't have a Kayvon Thibodeau and a Brian Burns playing next to him. But I thought he played brilliant. I thought, for me, understanding the game from a level of it's more than just about the sack numbers, I thought he played brilliantly. I thought they utilized him brilliantly. I really like the fact that they put Kayvon Thibodeau on the inside at defensive tackle and ran games with Thibodeau and Burns together. I thought that was really, really good. Like, they did, as the edge rushers, those two and Brian Burns, they wrecked the game. They absolutely wrecked the game. And it allowed everybody else to eat because of it, including Dexter Lawrence, right? Including Drew Phillips. Dexter Lawrence, who had the pick that almost went back for a pick 6. Drew Phillips, who had the pick that almost went back for a pick 6. Like, this defense was able to eat as a whole because of the efforts of those 3 disruptors up front, right? So you said, hey, we want to see all 4 of those guys on the field at one time. We want to see Dexter Lawrence and Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns on the field at the same time. You got it. You saw it. Are you happy? I am. Again, scheme but damn. This was not a scheme win. They were not doing anything that confused the Chargers. They were not doing anything that perplexed the Chargers. They were just winning. Those 3 guys, Dexter Lawrence, they were winning. And because they were winning in their individual and sometimes 2-on-1 matchups, it frustrated Herbert, because we all know, and maybe we don't know, maybe you guys don't know, but Justin Herbert gets a little bit tight in the sphincter when he starts getting pressures, when there's bodies around him. He is not the most cool under pressure type of guy that you've ever seen. I think that's important to note, because in the NFC East, the issue is that all of those quarterbacks are cool under pressure, right? Jalen Hurts, you're not going to rattle him. Jaden Daniels, you're not going to rattle him, right? Dak Prescott, you're not going to rattle him. You just have to get them on the ground. By any means necessary, you have to get them on the ground. And the Giants, were able to get him on the ground enough to where they made it uncomfortable for him, right? They had 2 sacks. Cool. They had 12 quarterback hits. 5 for Abdul Carter, 4 for Brian Burns, 3 for Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, the defense didn't have 12 quarterback hits. Those 3 guys had 12 quarterback hits. Their efforts as a group, as those 3, as the money, right, allowed everything else on the defense to germinate because of it. That's why they won. It's okay to say that. I know people will tell you this week, oh, well, team win. People will try to convince you this week, oh, well, if it wasn't for that punt from Jamie Gillian, if it wasn't for that punt, man, I don't know. Oh, well, that picking up that first down from Jaxson Dart, or that opening drive, it was so important because that gave them the lead and they never relinquished the lead. Yes, you're right. They gave them the lead. That first drive gave them the lead. How do you not relinquish the lead? You don't let them score, right? We could argue that the offense should have put more points on the board because that's what we argue every week. So it's great to get this win. But if you give Jalen Hurts the ball inside the 5, he's scoring a touchdown, or somebody's scoring a touchdown, right? That's the difference. That's why Philadelphia is Philadelphia. If they get a pick and they run it down to the 5 or inside the 5, it's a touchdown. The Giants need to get like that. That's why you put Jaxson Dart in. Not so that he can still run 3 plays and kick a field goal. That doesn't make any sense. Right? Some of the play calling down there, the delayed handoff inside the 5 is always the most baffling. I don't quite understand the thought process of the delayed handoff. Get under center and run a play downhill. Stop trying to be cute, right? Stop trying to be trendy. Get under center and run downhill. You want to know what Philly did? They're under center. They run downhill so much that when Jalen Hurts gets under center and snaps the ball, everybody pays attention. So then he just shovels the ball out to the tight end who runs in. When they're doing it, Jalen Hurts, people pay so much attention to him that when he goes under center, and he opens up like he's a run, and then he shoots it back over to the tight end on the shovel pass, it's wide open. Why? Because he's gained that right. The Giants haven't gained that right. They haven't gained that cachet. Nobody knows them as that type of team. So you have to earn that. You can't just come out here and start trying to be cute and think that's going to be enough to get it in the end zone. Get your butts under center, go downhill, and get the ball in the end zone. Stop settling for these field goals when you're inside the 5-yard. It makes me think to myself, if this is going to be life, if it's going to be 5 sacks in the game, 6, because Russell Wilson came in and immediately got sacked, or got sacked in his couple of plays. If this is going to be life, then why is Evan Neal not playing? If you're going to lean into Jaxson Dart being a runner, right? If you're going to lean into him being a runner, and you're going to lean into the run game and ball control and defense off of a ball control offense, then why is Evan Neal not in here? Evan Neal is a better run blocker than Greg Van Roten. He's a better run blocker than John Runyon Jr. He's a better run blocker than Jermaine Illuminor. And Jermaine Illuminor is not a bad run blocker, but he's a better run blocker than Jermaine Illuminor. And we're not even going to talk about the center because right? So if you're going to lean into the run game, how is Evan Neal still not even dressed out for a game? How is he a healthy scratch in these games? Why? Like, what has he done? I wish somebody would come out and just say, hey, listen, he's trash. He is absolutely, I wish somebody would just come out and go, listen, he's not good. We didn't pick up his option. We've got him here as a depth piece. That's all he is. At the end of the year, we're going to let him walk. I wish somebody would just be able to come out and say that, because I don't understand how you cannot use this dude somewhere. When you bring a jumbo package in, let him be the tight end. Like, put him next to Evan Neal. Like, I don't understand it. Let him be a fullback. Line him up in the backfield. Like, utilize this dude who is a top 5 pick and a top 5 talent who just hasn't panned out because your development and your patience has been non-existent. Because he hasn't been able to stay healthy like a lot of the offensive linemen on this team, and your patience hasn't been good. We just have to watch him be a guy who's on the not dressed list for every week. It's crazy to me. Like, if you want to be innovative, if you want to be cute, that's the way to do it. Find a way to get Evan Neal on the field in some capacity for this team. If you're not planning to bring him back next year, cool, great. Why just waste him right now? It makes no sense to me. 0 sense to me. But it was a great win. It was a great win. Devin Singletary back on kickoff returns. I don't think anybody really needs to see that. If we're being honest. Devin Singletary back on kickoff returns. Deonte Banks back on kickoff returns. Yo, why won't y'all just bring Turbo Miller up and allow him to return the football? Right? Have Gunnar Olszewski returning punts. You have a running back spot open. Tyrone Tracy's out. Put him on IR. Do something. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the fringe things and the things that we can complain about in a win. It's great. I love the fact that it's a win. We get to talk about some positive things. We're going to talk this week about positive things, but we also get to talk about things we need to get better if we want to continue to see the wins, right? We need to get that better if we want to continue to see the wins, and that's what's going to be interesting to watch. I don't need to see Devin Singletary returning kicks. It's not even remotely exciting. I know it's going to happen. He's going to catch it. He's going to run forward. He's going to try to make a move, but he's not really a guy making people miss anymore. Never really was a make people miss type of guy. He's always just been a solid, like, quality running back. Now he's a solid quality running back with mileage and wear and tear on his body. So Deonte Banks, I don't need to see him back there either. Let him play DB. Let him worry about locking up people. That's what he should be doing. A great win, great victory. You'll always take it, especially over a 3-0 undefeated team with a really good defense and with an offense that has so many different dynamics to it that they can beat you. For this team to come out there and be as disruptive as they were after last week, it's a good thing. Hey, yo, shout out to you guys not booing your own team. I appreciate that. Amazing how encouragement works, right? Um, Make sure you go over to the New York Giants on SI and check out everything we're doing over there. Make sure you come over here, hit the subscribe button. New York Giants on SI YouTube page. Hit us up. Myself, Paul Dottino with the Big Blue Breakdown. Everything we're doing over here. Make sure that you're keeping locked in. Follow me on X and anywhere you have social media at Gene Clemons for all of the things that I do, not just this. If you're into fantasy, holler at me as well. Until next time, you know who I am. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.